Hello, everybody. This is Stephanie and Chelsea, and we are the co-founders of CS Planners. And I want to welcome you to the Celebrating Success podcast, where today we have Kelsey joining us. Thank you so much, Kelsey, for joining us today.
Hi, guys. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so happy to be a part of this.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. So I'm excited for multiple reasons. One, I love what you do. I even had a call with you because I love what you do. I also love your merch, which I'm wearing right now. And
Shameless plug. I love that.
I love it. Like I literally wear it all the time. I'm sure if you check our past videos, it's now like a consistent part of my wardrobe.
They're so comfortable. I love them too. I do.
I know, it's great. And the other thing that I love is we've actually known each other for a long time.
For a very long time.
A while. So
I think we met in acting class when I was like 12. I think we were like so young. So yeah, no, that's awesome. I really do love the connection. I was actually thinking about that a couple days ago. I'm like, oh my God, like I was so young. And you don't really have a lot of those connections that you keep for so long when you're like so young, right? So that's really cool. I love that.
It's true. And I told Steph, I was like, we've never like stayed in touch consistently, but I feel like we've always just been there and seen each other grow. So that's why I love it, because I feel like we've seen the transition each of us have gone through.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't really keep a lot of people on my social media. I'm kind of like closed off with that too, but we've always kind of held hands throughout the years through social media. So I think that's pretty cool as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's start with your story. Just where do you want to begin and where are you going?
Yeah, wow, that's a big one. Okay, so I guess where my story kind of began was when I was young, like I was 3 years old, and there was always something different. Like I didn't really understand what was going on around me, but my story kind of started, well, once I was born, actually, my mom was in labor, and I asked her, and I was like, did this ever happen with any other pregnancies of yours? And she's like, no, but when I was coming into the world, the nurse actually did Reiki on her because they couldn't, I don't know, either the epidural wasn't working or something. And I was like, did that happen? Because I have two other brothers, right? And I was like, did that happen with like other pregnancies? And she's like, no, just yours. So now when I'm like doing my Reiki and stuff, my grandmother actually knows what I'm doing because she saw it in the delivery room. So anyway, so it kind of started there. Cool. I think I was like woo at birth, honestly.
That's really cool.
So I did that. And then around 3 years old, she would just kind of see me chatting and talking to walls and doing really, just playful things, but it would just be me in her home. So she was always freaked out. She'd be like, you would literally scare me. Like your dad would be on nights and I'd be at home alone with you and I'd be terrified. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Fast forward, I started having these things happen. So I would, feel energy or feel emotions of other people that weren't my own. I still remember I was 4 years old and I was on the floor, just playing on the floor of the kitchen. And we were at my grandparents' house and my mom asked for a Diet Pepsi or something, a Diet Coke or a Diet Pepsi, but they didn't have it. She's like, oh, okay, no worries. I'll just have water. But I guess she had felt disappointed because she was really looking forward to that Diet Pepsi. And I started bawling. Like I felt the emotion, even though she really didn't care that much, but I felt that emotion coming from her. And I was like, and I didn't know what to do. I was 4 years old. I didn't even know really what emotion was really. So kind of fast forward here, there, I started struggling because I really couldn't differentiate through other people's emotions and my own, but I also was getting contacted, by like spirit, by like, loved ones that had passed on. I was never really close with my dad's family. He left his family kind of early on in his life. So when I would have these people come forward, I didn't really recognize them. And it wasn't, being brought up in a Roman Catholic family, like you don't really put too much energy into things that, don't make sense to what your surroundings are telling you that makes sense. So it was kind of a battle with that. And also just feeling emotions that I had no idea why I was feeling other people's stuff. Especially, you know, when things would happen in the family, even like my parents got a divorce. It was a super like intense time. There was a lot of moves, you know, it was probably really stressful for both parties, for my dad and my mom. And just being around, because the divorce was messy, but just being around each and everyone's personal emotions kind of got a little tricky.
And did you notice, like, when you were like, you say like people were crossing over and like contacting you, would it be like you would feel it? Would you get messages? Would you hear it? Would you see it? I'm curious to know how like you receive messages.
Yeah, for sure. So when I receive message, the best way I can describe it is, well, first off, I can kind of feel how they would have passed. So if it was heart issues, I would kind of have like some chest pressure, or I've had like little tingles on my arm if it was maybe a stroke or a heart, something like that. So that's how they connect with me. But also the way I see them, it's not like I see them just like I'm looking at you guys right now. I see them in my mind. So if I told you to imagine a banana, you have this mental picture of a banana. That's how I see them. So I would have these like random thoughts of like these, you know, relatives of mine that I've never known, or relatives of other people when I was out in public. And it would just freak me right out, because I'm like, why am I seeing this? And then there's just so much that goes into it, right? Am I going crazy? Is this normal? Like what? Like, it's just so bizarre. So yeah, it was a really big struggle at the beginning, I'd say.
That would be so hard. And because I know exactly where you come from in terms of feeling like different emotions like that, because I'm very intuitive, and I know it's more than just feeling it. It's like you're actually living somebody else's emotion, like you're feeling it, and you know it's not yours. So it's incredibly hard. So I get it being like the struggle with that for you. It's like when you're talking about just feeling other emotions, it's more than just like knowing how they feel. It's that struggle of actually living it. And I feel like that's huge. And I remember, I think I might have been with you, Chelsea, where I remember driving. It was either with you or my husband. And I remember driving and saying, I think the person behind me is going through a divorce. And I can feel it. So, and it's like the heartache. And the thing is, it's like these feelings that I don't feel, right? Like I don't feel any of them, but yet you can. And I know it's a huge, like, it must have been a huge struggle. And how did you deal with that? Like, what are some coping like mechanisms or that you kind of thought worked?
Yeah. So it's really confusing as well, right? Because when you're feeling people's emotions, you're like, okay, you have to kind of do like a mental checklist. You're like, am I sad? Or like, am I feel like what? Like, I was just so happy singing to the radio in this car, and now I'm like in the verge of tears. Like, what's going on here? So yeah, so it did take a long time, and there was a lot of trial and error. It's not a pretty process. It wasn't for me anyways. But I think the best thing you can do is just really have this kind of belief that there is a shield around you. Like you have to kind of set yourself up for success with this type of thing, especially if you're a highly sensitive person like yourself, or if you just, you know, you're really empathetic. And I feel like anyone in healthcare, even like, I just like, how do you do it? Like, kudos to you guys. Cause I would have no idea, but even just people that are dealing with harder subjects on a daily basis, I feel like shielding and grounding is the biggest thing. There's a million ways to ground yourself, you know, essential oils or meditation. So grounding, I think, is the best, because it just kind of gets you used to having a solid base, a solid ground, or a safe place to come back to, you know? So even if you are feeling somebody else's emotions, you can, you know, try your best to try and figure it out. But as long as, if it gets too much, you just have a place to kind of center. I think that's one of the main things. Another thing is to just really shield yourself. So there's different ways to do that, but the most effective way is, you know, that whole golden aura thing that they talk about. So really envisioning and visualizing this golden bubble around you. Some people aren't really that great with visualization. So if they weren't, or if they have a hard time picturing it, I would just get them to really have faith in their words. Like, I am protected. Just really, grounding into your words, if that's your thing, or the visualization. When you shield, it's a really good place to be in, because then you are able to kind of differentiate, okay, is that something that I need to deal with, or is this something someone else needs to deal with? Because I know it's like people have this belief that being an empath is a beautiful thing. And I truly think it is. There's beauty in it because you can relate to so many things, but you're not doing anyone any favors by feeling their emotion. It's kind of like they're cheating a test. If they can push it out, they're kind of cheating their test and they're not learning anything, right? And then you're just stuck with an overload, which does not look pretty once you get burnt out. So yeah, I think that would be my starting place for sure.
That's great advice. So my question is, you've had these gifts from such a young age. When did you start telling people, and how did people respond to that?
Yeah, so that's tricky because I went for maybe 10 years trying to run away from everything. It was 10 years of my life that I didn't understand, nor did I want to put time into understand. And I also felt like I came from a place where I was very blocked off with my spirituality, because I had numbed myself like so long that I felt really blocked off. So to me, being a psychic medium wasn't even in my realm of possibilities. Like I really didn't think that was a possibility for me. I just thought I was mentally unstable or just going through different things, right? Also, I was choosing to numb myself in really negative and ways that just were really unhealthy. So those, it's like I was suffering because I didn't understand what was going on, but then I was also bringing in more suffering because of the habits that I had picked up, right? And that I was partaking in. So it took me a long time. And I still, to this day, if I'm meeting somebody just face to face, I'll tell them I'm a life coach, because I'm not like, it's not that I'm ashamed of what I do. It's just sometimes I forget to have that barrier, and I don't really want to go into judgments on my day off. It's so hard to be, and I say that because it takes a lot of, it took me a lot of time to get used to giving even messages, because when I see messages and I receive messages in my readings, I'm connecting with spirit and I'm connecting with, energy, but it's almost like a game of charades, or it's almost like Pictionary, where they show me things and I have to interpret what's the word? Yes, interpret them. Thank you. So when you're doing that, it's almost like you kind of have to put your ego aside, because I could interpret them wrong. And then you have spirit disappointed, your client disappointed, and you're just like in a jungle. So I do, on my day off, I don't really, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a psychic medium. And then, sometimes I get the balls to do it. But again, so yes, I do have a reluctancy sometimes with even saying that, but online with my business and with the communities that I interact with that have been so welcoming and so beautiful, it's different. A lot of even people that knew me in high school or prior, they're like, I had no idea you were a psychic medium. And I'm like, you know what? I hid it for so long, and some people might even remember me as this party girl downtown, late at night, 3 a.m. And then they're looking at me talking about love and light. And they're like, where's the connection here? Right. They have no idea. So, sorry, to get back to your question. Yeah. When I started kind of putting myself out there, it was really I started working with my gift, I say about 5 years ago, and I went public with it 2 years ago, or 1.5, 2 years ago. Yeah.
That's amazing. And the success you've had since starting that business is incredible. So do you want to talk about some of the things that you've done within your business?
Yeah. It's really a heart-led business. And I feel like heart-led businesses are just going to succeed no matter what challenges you have. If you're a heart-led business, there's no way it won't be successful. So I started doing my business about a year and a half ago. It was actually May 9th, 2020. So not even a year, actually. Wow, not even a year. And I started doing it, and I say we because my partner does help me with some back end stuff. I really push off my accounting to her, sorry, but I cannot do that. But for the basics, I am a big micromanager, and everything I kind of put forth, it's really just me, and it gets intense sometimes because I don't know how to delegate, but that's another thing. What I did want to talk about is the success that we've seen is, I'm fully booked for the weeks. I do about 20, 25 readings a week. I actually was able to, I was nominated for the Reader's Choice Awards in Hamilton.
That's amazing.
And won second place in my first year. So that was pretty cool. Wow. Yeah. And I've also been able to, network with grant companies and small business companies that have been absolutely amazing, and the mentorship. So I also, went forward with that. And the financial success is totally separate, but it's been very, very lucrative. And I feel like it's because of the passion to really get these tools and this healing information out there, because it's just something that we as a collective hadn't looked at before. Honestly, before the pandemic, it was not a widespread thing until the pandemic. So I really do feel that urge and need kind of pushes the business forward, but it's been incredible. It really has.
That's amazing. Congratulations on all the success. I'm curious to know how, with that many readings, I feel like it must be like just exhausted. Like, how do you manage it all between like everything that you're doing, all the readings, and it just being like, it's like exhausting. Like, it must be tiring. How do you find time to manage it all?
Yeah. Time management has been something that I'm still learning. Honestly, some days I'm running around like crazy. The other days I need to kind of put other responsibilities like my social life or, family time kind of aside. Going into this business, I had such a passion and such a drive that I already kind of had those conversations. Like, if I am going to do this, if I am going to start this business, the next 3 years, you might not hear from me. I had that mentality kind of going in, right? So what I do is I do work 6 days a week. I try to limit my client time, my one-on-one time to 4 hours a day, just so I can have the time to do other things. Just recently, I'm starting to delegate. I think that's one of the biggest things that I am learning, but also seeing a really big improvement with is delegation. So like even certain content, I'll write it out, but can you make it prettier for me? So hiring a marketing manager to really do that has been such a help. Hiring an accountant to kind of guide me, asking for help was the biggest thing. I would sit there and it would be 3 a.m. just crying because I'm like, I have to order these and I have to do this and I have to launch merch and I have to do a live meditation. And I also need to engage because engagement on social media is everything. And there's just so many hats you wear. So time management, I'm going to tell you, I am not the poster child for that. I do rip my hair out some days, but I do, I think just asking for help and organizing. I'm also one to, if someone messages me, I need to be the one to message them right away because I had this fear to get the task done now or you'll forget it. And what I've also just started kind of doing is when something does need my attention, I'll just schedule it instead. So it's almost like a safety thing. Like, no, you won't forget it. Just put it in your calendar and then just wait, you know? And obviously leaving work at work when everyone's working from home, a little hard, but I enjoy my business. So it's kind of like I enjoy doing it. So most of it doesn't feel like work. I do need to make sure to schedule some off time, and just kind of chill for a second, because being a business owner can be hard to chill. And it's so weird because before I would never really want to sit down and take a minute, or no, before I would always want to sit down and take a minute, and I was tired all the time. But now I do struggle to rest, but rest is just as productive. So I'm trying to log that in as well.
Yeah, it's true. So when were you at the point where you're like, I need to start hiring somebody? Was there something that just really clicked with you, or was it a breaking point? What was that?
Yeah, so I was actually doing a program with the city for small businesses, and it was a small business basically program of different mentors and things. And you were getting so much information. You had to do this like 12-page business plan, and it was just so informative. But I was also doing this program while working full time, while doing this full time, launching merch, launching meditations, and it was a lot. So I think, to be transparent, I think I noticed that I needed to delegate before, like when I had my breaking point where I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. And it was really professional burnout that really pushed me to do it. I do think there are steps you can take before then, definitely. But when you're, creating your own success and you see something that's really working from you and not from other direction, or not from being an employee, you don't want to give that money out. It's like you have that hesitation, right? You're like, this is my baby. Like everything about this is my baby. I don't know if they can even do it right. Is my tone going to be presented? And there was a lot of fear there. And then the biggest thing was be scared and do it anyway, because if I continue this, there's not going to be a business to even delegate to or delegate for. So I really did. It was burnout, honestly. Now I see where I could have maybe stopped, those times where, the stress was just a little bit too much. Maybe I could have, asked for more help then before my breaking point, but I'm so glad that we're good now, and delegating has been incredible. So I really do feel like if anybody's scared to do that, have fear and do it anyways. Do your research. Obviously, it's your business, it's your baby. You want to see where you're giving the task to, but it takes time to find the right people. So give yourself a little bit of time there. But I really do believe that delegating tasks is huge. And especially when you're in this mentality that you have the same 24 hours as Beyonce. People forget that Beyonce has a 12 to 24 person team, right?
Yeah.
You don't have the same 24 hours. You have one person right now. So I just really do, want to remind you that you need a team. It is, you do. Having a team and being able to resource information, it's so helpful. So I definitely do accredit success to that for sure.
I absolutely love what you said. Face the fear and do it anyways. I feel like that right there is so important, especially I feel like that also applies with new businesses just starting, because I know I've connected with so many people that are just afraid to even start. They're afraid, whether it be hiring, whether it be like I feel like that right there, what you just said, is a huge block in pushing people to go forward, because it's scared, whether you're hiring someone else, whether it be just starting, no matter what you're doing. I feel like it's scary trying to get to that next step. So I absolutely love it. What you said, face the fear and do it anyways. I feel like that is such an important message for everyone out there right now listening.
For sure. Absolutely. If there wasn't any fear or any risk there probably wouldn't be any reward, honestly. And it really is, the worst case scenario. People think, things are more exaggerated than they are. Things are fixable. There are ways to do things. There's so many resources out there now. What I think is most important is just following your heart, doing what you love, because that's the only thing like that. There's no way you won't be successful if you do it from your heart. That's it, for sure.
When you decided to start your business, were there people that doubted you or questioned, starting a business? And how did you handle that?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I had started little small micro businesses before. I was doing hair extensions. I was doing hair, but I just wasn't in like hair, just dressing in general and extensions. But I wasn't in a mindset or space to really commit to anything. I was really struggling with a lot of addictions and things that I ran to in the past to kind of numb myself from what I actually was. So when I had so many other failures, or even jobs that I had stayed at for 6 months, like 2 months, whatever, there was a lot of hesitation, even from my family. Like, don't invest in yourself. You haven't even seen if you could do it for a full year yet. And to be honest with you, they had merit and they had track records to go about them, but I just felt like it was different. And I felt like there was the need, like my perception of having the need and the tools, because it had saved my life. I felt like that was just so much bigger to me that there wasn't an option to fail. To me, honestly, there wasn't an option if I could or could not do it. I just wanted to do it, and I just streamlined ahead. There wasn't really any doubt there. There are times now where I'm like, I would rather, stop this and just wear one hat and be an employee. That is definitely something that I revisit often once I get to that point. But now I just use that as my meter. That's my meter to delegate more, or that's my meter to take a step back. So I really do, I did it anyways. I feel like it was that passion, that pull to just go ahead that really made it not an option, that I wanted to do it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Because I feel like that's the other thing, is a lot of people, they do have people, whether or not they've started a business before, people are always worried about their success. And they're always trying to, do what's best for them, or they're the opposite and just, they think you're doing this. Why are you the person that's doing that? So I love that you are telling people that even if you're passionate about it and you have that drive and that feeling, you need to go for it, because it will pay off. It will. Yeah.
Absolutely. And also, being your own boss, you're not going to have a recognition type of thing. Like, you're not going to receive recognition unless it's coming from you, or you do have a business coach. There are mentors that you can, get that insight from, and you can recognize your wins, but you have to recognize your wins. You have to take a second once you reach a goal, any type of goal, like schedule 2 days off just for yourself to really just, recalibrate, because you just hit a milestone. Now your energy is up here. Now we need to recalibrate to get to the next goal. So making time for rest, but also just knowing that there's not going to be a lot of cheerleaders for you unless you build a team of that, right? There's like, if you're going in blind and you really need that, that, not even the ego boost, but you need some kind of recognition to keep going. You need some kind of positive reinforcement. So really step back and look at everything you've accomplished over the course of your business period, because it can get very daunting, and it can get very lonely or negative if you're not celebrating the wins and just continuously steamrolling towards other things. And I really do, no, I just lost it. Yeah, I think that's it.
I do that all the time, and I'll sometimes ramble and like hope Steph remembers and jumps in.
I absolutely love that though. Like, you can be your own cheerleader. I feel like that right there is so incredible, because so many people, they look for other people, for that support, which is great. But at the same time, especially for a business owner, an entrepreneur, I feel like just exactly what you said, the best way is to be your own cheerleader, just to really build yourself up. Because when you feel that, then if you're celebrating everything, then if you do have those negative people around you, it doesn't affect you because you're your own cheerleader, right? And I feel like taking time for yourself, that's incredible. I feel like Chelsey and I, we were just talking about this not that long ago. So I feel like we really connect with that and like know how important it is especially for those new business owners. I feel like that's along the way that I feel like, Chelsey and I, we're both learning that now, but that was something definitely right now that I wish I would have learned going into just starting a business for sure.
No, absolutely. You can make a business from within the same year, you can hit 5 figures, and it's really not that hard. Like, it sounds unattainable to some, but I have seen such incredible growth that I didn't even know was possible. Having 5-figure months in the same 1 year of starting is possible. I've seen it. I've done it. And I'm not coming from a long, university background of business. It's really just, you can make it happen and it's attainable. Just having that community is huge. And being able to take time for yourself to rest and reflect, it's going to make a difference, and it's going to continuously refill that tank so you have your energy to go and make more milestones for yourself, for sure.
I love it. And I think it's also the small things along the way. But I have a question for you. I want you to just promote whatever you have coming up. Tell us everything that's going on. Let's hear it.
Yeah, for sure. So right now we're launching our workshop series. So our first workshop was just sold out, which is absolutely incredible. It's a grounding and protection workshop. So it really teaches people how to regulate their energy, empowered to be assertive in what they need to be in business and personal life, whichever. It teaches people boundaries and grounding. And I'm just so excited to get this information out there because it has changed my life. These principles, I swear, are night and day from where I was before. So I'm super excited. We just sold out our first workshop. We have more coming up. And I'm just super excited to get that out there now.
That's awesome.
So exciting. And you are so inspiring. Your story is incredibly inspiring for all those out there. I feel like people need to hear your story because it's honestly truly incredible. And I feel like this will really give people that motivation, that boost. I feel like your story is so incredible. Where can people find you are you on Instagram? Tell us a little bit more about the best way for people to contact you.
Absolutely. I do love my Instagram platform the most out of everything, but I am on the web at kelseytarot.com. You can find me on Instagram at Kelsey Tarot, Facebook and Pinterest as well, Kelsey Tarot, all across the board. And I'm always an email away. So if you need to if you're not sure, you want to work with me, you want to have a session, or you even just want to ask more about the workshop, I'm an email away. Everything is on my website. And I am super available for anyone who's interested.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelsey. And we'll leave the links to all of your stuff below. So if you're watching or listening, make sure you check that out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.